Monmouth. Siena with Javion Oganyemi jumping against Jordan Washington for Iona, and the Gales in white control the tip, and Ricky McGill, the sophomore point guard, runs the show.
Well, Siena looks like they're starting in man-to-man, and you're going to have to guard the three-point line when you're playing against Iona. They shoot a ton of threes.
And their first three is a miss out of the hands of Ricky McGill. Here's Marquise Wright, the leader, one of those seniors we talked about. 4 seniors who are 1,000-point scorers on the Siena squad, but they've never been to the NCAA tournament. Here's another one of them, Brett Bisping. Now off to the wing, Asante Shivers. Offensive rebound, and the first bucket of the game for Javion Oganyemi.
Javion Oganyemi is a really good big guy. He's top 5 in the MAAC in offensive rebounding, 2.5 per game. That's his first of the game, and it's a big one. I think that's where Siena can really hurt Iona, is on the glass.
And a bank shot knocked home for the first bucket of the game for Iona from Jordan Washington, another senior. And he was first team all MAAC, a unanimous selection. Their leading scorer and rebounder. He's just under 18 points per game.
Iona in a 2-3 zone. They went a little 2-2-1 3/4 court pressure after that bucket by Washington. Washington's an emotional player. He's got to be careful not to pick fouls up.
Oganyemi inside again.
Washington gambled there and gave up a bucket as a result.
Washington got his own miss. Couple of chances that wouldn't go. And Oganyemi, the star of the early going, local player from just up the road in Troy, New York. And Marquise Wright fouled on his way to the bucket. Jeff Anderson, Rob Riley, Earl Walton are the officials. Iona coached by Tim Cluess. In his 7th season as head coach of the Gales, he has them in the championship game for the 6th time in those 7 years. And they were an upset winner in the title game. You were here last year when they knocked off Monmouth. We thought Monmouth might still get a bid to the NCAA tournament as an at-large team, and that did not happen.
Monmouth losing to Siena in the semifinals of this year's tournament, and I think that's all it for Monmouth again, even though Monmouth has a really good team. But if they didn't get in last year with all the road wins they had, with wins over Georgetown and UCLA and Notre Dame, it's highly unlikely they even have a shot to be on the at-large nomination board right now.
Siena beat Monmouth, while yesterday Iona, under Coach Cluess, beat St. Peter's, the number 2 seed. Takeaway by Levon Long.
But Washington needed to give that ball up. He had a teammate open on his left. Instead, turned it over.
Tough shot by Long. He averages 13 points per game, but he didn't score yesterday in Siena's big come-from-behind win. After scoring 25 points in the first half yesterday against Monmouth, Siena scored 64 points in the second half, fueled by Nico Clarid, who comes off the bench. But that's a question tonight, as he has an ankle injury. Oganyemi blocked a couple of shots the second time he got called for a foul, and he didn't like it.
Well, Jordan Washington is a really active player, 6'8", very athletic. He's a junior college player, came from Indian Hills Community College in Iowa, and he gets fouled a lot because of his activity level around the basket. Per 40 minutes, fouled over 9 times per game, which is at the top of the country, really. There's nobody that gets fouled more.
And per 40 minutes, he averages better than 33 points per game, and that leads the country. He only plays a little bit more than 21 minutes a game and still averages just under 18 points. Some pressure from Iona. They like to play an up-tempo game and push the pace. The foul was on Bisping, so Oganyemi might have blocked it cleanly, but Bisping got the last foul. They left Oganyemi alone, and if that got rim, it just barely did. Marquise Wright is out of bounds for the Siena College Saints, who started the year 4-11. They had a tough early season schedule, but they really turned things around in the second half of the season. That win yesterday got them above 500 for the year. Nice shot by Jordan Washington out of Jamaica, New York.
All MAAC first team. He's got a great jump hook. But his activity level, he can get, that's not a smart play there by Jordan Washington. That's why he picks up so many fouls. Like, he threw his body
right into the offensive player there. Just go up, challenge the shot. There's no you're not going to get a charge there. He's going up for a jump shot. And these are the kind of cheap ones he picks up all the time.
That's why he averages 21 minutes per game. It's not because of his conditioning or anything other than foul difficulty. The free throw rattled home by Levon Long, and here comes Nico Clarith, the star of yesterday's win. He gets a huge hand as he comes in. He sprained his right ankle last Wednesday in practice. He did not play in their quarterfinal win against Fairfield on Saturday. They didn't know if he'd go yesterday. He played only 3 minutes in the first half, took one shot, didn't make it, didn't score. Jimmy Patsos at the half thought Clarith was done for the day. And he said at the half to his coach, no way, I'm playing, and this is unacceptable the way we played in the first half. He had a lot of spirited things to say to the team, and it paid off in that comeback for the victory. Deshaun Much missed the three for Iona.
I haven't seen a performance like Clarith put on yesterday in a half. 27 points, 7 of 9. It was incredible.
And he picks up right where he left off. 7 threes in the second half yesterday, as Jay said, in 9 attempts. And he bangs home his first to give Siena a 10-6 lead. Nico Clarith, sophomore out of Baltimore.
He is playing on a gimpy ankle, and how you can let him catch this ball without dribbling is beyond me. You should never have to close out to Nico Clarith. As hot as he is, and he is global warming hot, you've got to make him put the ball on the floor. I mean, Monmouth never made him dribble. And then the first time he comes into the game, he gets a catch and shoot opportunity against Iona. Tim Cluse and his staff can't be happy about that.
Another three. This one off the mark from E.J. Crawford, the left-handed freshman out of Hartford, Connecticut, who was on the MAAC All-Rookie team. Brett Bisping doesn't want this to be his final game. He wants to play in the tournament before he calls it a career here in Albany.
A great rebounder, leads the MAAC in rebounding at just under 10 per game.
Crawford, nifty little pull-up. Whoa, Bisping didn't see the pass coming.
I don't know why they wanted to save that ball. McGill decided he wanted to save it. It's going out of bounds. Let it go.
And there's a foul called on Deshaun Much of Iona. Our first media timeout. Going a 17-0 run for Coach Cluse to knock out the Peacocks of St. Peter's, the second seed. Iona beat Ryder in the quarterfinals. Siena eliminated Fairfield. Siena with the lead and 3 more on the board. Marquise Wright, one of those seniors and 1,000-point career scorers, with the deep connection.
Well, that was a little inside out. You get the ball in the middle and then kicked it back out. And Wright was ready to shoot when the ball arrived. You can't just go off the first action against Iona. Once they get into some man-to-man, they play zone, a lot of zone. They play some 2-3, 3-2, little matchup. But you got to move them first and then attack.
First shot of the game for John Sevier off the bench. And he missed, but right there to follow up is Taylor Bessick, a senior out of Philadelphia, who averages just 3 points per game, but he's made an immediate impact off the bench.
He's had 4 double-figure rebound games Bessick has, and there were 4 yellow shirts down in the paint, and Bessick was the one that came up with that ball. Man-to-man now for Iona.
Marquise Wright, tough shot. Boy, another big rebound by Oganyemi. And he was fouled on the way back up.
See, Iona gets the ball inside to Bisping, and you can see everybody kind of collapses on him, then he kicks it back out to Wright. That's really good inside-outside interaction, and a great pass by Brett Bisping.
Bisping averaged, we were talking about him averaging 10 rebounds a game. We had a chance to talk to him earlier today and asked him, how many rebounds a game did you average in high school? And this is a guy that's led the MAAC in rebounding for 2 straight years, one of the top rebounders in the country. And he said 7. I was stunned by that.
And that's why he wasn't really highly recruited. He told us he was thinking about Lehigh and Brown. Obviously excellent academic schools. He had a 4.0 GPA, did Bisping in the fall semester for Siena. A couple of misses by Oganyemi, but Siena got it back, leading 15-10 in the championship game of the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. Lob inside, a little too fancy as Wright tried to connect with Oganyemi.
Nice play by Sam Cassell to knock that away.
Cassell in off the bench. The shot wouldn't drop for Deshaun Much. Sam Cassell Jr. is the son of the former NBA standout Florida State Seminole star Sam Cassell, now an assistant coach for the Los Angeles Clippers.
Deshaun Much really hurt Siena last time these two teams played, but they've done a good job on him so far.
Well, there's the big concern for Tim Kluse, the rebounding. Siena, the best rebounding team in the league in league play, almost +7 per game on the boards. And Iona out-rebounded for the year, -1 per game. Their small team plays with a lot of guards.
Well, that's where Jimmy Patsos really wants to try to take advantage of Iona. They want to do a good job guarding the three-point line against Iona, limit turnovers, win the turnover battle, and they need to dominate the glass.
Clarith after the fake, a little bit long, and the long rebound out to Much, who transferred to Iona from the University at Buffalo, played there for Bobby Hurley. And a foul before the shot by Much. Levon Long called for his first foul for Siena. And Bisping goes out for the Saints.
Well, Jordan Washington coming back into the ballgame for Iona. And one thing that Siena's got to think about is going right at Washington. Instead of, last time Brett Bisping got the ball, he took a turnaround jumper. Might be better off just putting the ball on the deck and attacking him and put him in a position to foul.
Jan Svanderlik in off the bench for Iona. He's number 20. John Sevier fouled and made the shot. He'll have a chance for an old-fashioned three-point play.
As soon as John Sevier got the ball, you knew it was going up.
He just had that look of a guy that was going to get his own. Transferred from Fordham. When he was a freshman at Fordham, averaged 17 points per game. And a young man who's just wired to score. Now a graduate transfer. He's been around the block a few times.
Makes the free throw. William Smithen was called for the foul. Bisping back in.
We were asking Tim Kluse about John Sevier today, and he told a great story about Sevier in Alaska at an IHOP.
Clarith has missed a couple now. Oganyemi foul. Now, Coach Kluse really upset about that. That was a great story. They were at a restaurant. They're up in the Great Alaska Shootout, which they won. And the entire team and their traveling parties, they're eating. And there was basically one waitress who was advanced in her years, shall we say. And she was struggling to keep up. Sevier got up, helped to clean up the tables, helped to wait the tables.
Yeah, he's busting tables. And
nobody asked him to do it. He just did it on his own. And Tim Kluse said it's one of the greatest things he's seen from a kid in all his years of coaching. Then his teammates didn't tip him. It's like going out with you.
That'd probably be an NCAA violation of some sort. I don't want you to get started on that subject. Oganyemi makes it 18-13. Kadeem Smithen comes back in.
Siena in a 2-3 zone. Bisping in the middle. Actually, nope, they're in man. They just gave a zone look.
We talked to Jimmy Patsos before the game. He said, I hate to start the game in zone, but we had a players meeting this morning. I let them decide. They said they wanted to start zone against this Iona team. Good work on the glass by Jordan Washington.
So hard to keep him off the glass. He's active and strong.
Bisping, a deep three for Siena.
Well, Siena's come out aggressive and confident.
And Jimmy Patso said the key, keep Iona away from the three ball. The Gales now 0 for 6 from beyond the arc with the miss by Sevier.
We'd like to run him off that three-point line, make him take tough twos, but you know, Iona's taking some tough threes in this one. Good drive
by Smithen, and the finish. Iona likes to push it. They average 80 points per game. Offensive foul is the call. Sam Cassell Jr. doesn't like it. That's his second. This pro Siena crowd in Albany loving the start to this one. In college coaching, after some work at the high school level with Gary Williams as an unpaid assistant at age 24. And one of those jobs he told us about this morning after your interview, apparently the receptionist left. So Jimmy started answering the phones and managing Coach Williams' schedule in addition to helping out with the basketball coaching.
And then Gary wondered why he was late everywhere with Jimmy handling the schedule.
Brett Bisping turned it over to Ricky McGill. They're still looking for their first three are the Gales, and it's a finger roll lay-in by Deshaun Much to get Iona within 6 as we approach 11 minutes to go in the first half in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference championship game. Besic blocks it out of bounds. He's had an active beginning, averages 14 minutes per game. He's usually the guy who gets the minutes when Washington gets in foul trouble.
Well, he leads the team in block shots. Now he's got 39 after 2 in this game. But the last play down at the other end where Much got that layup, that was a good job by Long to close out them to take away that 3. Gave up a 2.
Oh boy, big call there, and it goes against Javion Ogunyemi, his first.
I like the fact that Ogunyemi decided that he wanted to attack. You know, the overwhelming majority of charge block calls are blocks.
Is this leading into your first soliloquy of the night?
No. They may be called charges, but they're blocks. But you like going to the basket on that, taking the opportunity to try to hang another foul on Washington. It's worth the risk.
Sure. And that was a big call because it went against Washington. It was his second. And Tim Cluse told us this morning keeping Washington out of foul trouble is one of the biggest keys. Cedric Casimir, smooth off the bench for Iona, sophomore from Stamford, Connecticut.
He's had so many injury problems. Having to go back to back to back is awfully difficult in 3 straight days for Casimir. 22 in his first game, but really wasn't able to play a lot of minutes in the semifinal against St. Peter's.
That's the first 3 of the game for Iona. Smithen couldn't answer it. Deshaun Much off to E.J. Crawford, and now they have 2 threes in a row, and that has really brought their bench to life as they're tied up at 23 midway through the first half.
They really look to get out in transition. So when they get a defensive rebound, Iona, they push the ball up the court quickly, and Much made a really nice pass to Crawford.
Jump hook by Evan Fisher just into the game. Wouldn't go. He doesn't play much, about 8 minutes per game, but these teams might go a little deeper. Iona is the deeper team, and for each team, the 3rd game in 3 days. Wow, looked like Fisher knocked down E.J. Crawford underneath. No call. Marquise Wright. Levon Long. And it's taken back by Crawford, and then a foul on Levon Long, who just flattened one of the Gales right in front of us. Second foul on Long. It was Ricky McGill who hit the deck, sophomore from Spring Valley, New York, who looks like he injured his left hand. Our next NBA Wednesday doubleheader begins with the Pistons and Pacers at 8, and then after that one, Isaiah Thomas and the Celtics, who lost to the red-hot Phoenix Suns last night, continue their West Coast trip against the NBA leading Warriors. Coverage tips with NBA Countdown at 7, also streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN.
Siena sticking with this matchup zone.
Iona trying to take its first lead of the night. They're 21-12 for the season. Now to go back to the NCAA tournament, and Washington gives them their first lead of the night.
Ogunyemi very fortunate he didn't pick up a foul there, because he gave him a pretty good knock before Washington went up. And Washington is really emotional in this one.
10 straight points for Iona from New Rochelle, New York, down near the city, about a 2.5-hour drive from here in Albany. E.J. Crawford called for his first foul, and after this collision in front of our table, like a dislocated finger there. McGill went right to the locker room.
Well, that really hurts because he is their primary ball handler. Second in the MAAC in assists.
That foul put Iona over the limit. He's back on the court now, getting his fingers taped together, perhaps.
Looked like it was his ring finger there, didn't it?
which means he could still drive in Boston.
That's correct. One-point lead for Iona. Kashmir. As Jay mentioned, he's battled a lot of injuries. Played in only 4 games last year. Had surgery on each hip for a labrum problem, and then had a sports hernia operation, all within a span of 5 months. 3 from the corner rattles out for Asante Shivers, and Siena has gone cold.
What a great pass by Oganyemi to Shivers. He saw a double team coming, looked opposite, and that was a great look, just didn't make it.
Shot clock usually not an issue for Iona. It's down to 7 as Crawford drove and had it blocked by Brett Bisping. Now Siena trying to find itself again at the offensive end. The Saints have missed their last 6. And right as he had his pocket picked by Kashmir was fouled. And that gets us to a media timeout. Among the big crowd here tonight, Cal Ripken. Jimmy Patso spent a long time. All right, gentlemen, we'll have another ticket punched here tonight. Iona trying to go back to the NCAA tournament the 2nd year in a row. Siena hasn't been since 2010. Fran McCaffrey's last season as coach here before he went off to Iowa.
There's another school that Fran McCaffrey coached that could go to the NCAA tournament for the first time since he coached there. UNC Greensboro. They were playing right before our game. I don't know the result. But how about that? He had two former teams playing for the NCAA tournament that hadn't gone since he was there.
Severe down the lane. Well, Fran's former team, Siena, has gone ice cold at the offensive end.
They need to start attacking the rim and not settling for jump shots.
Of course, yesterday they scored 25 points in the entire first half and then ripped off 64 in the second half to beat Monmouth. Well, you have to feel for Monmouth, the team with a lot of seniors. They had the heartbreak last year. They were on the bubble. This year, I don't think anybody expects them to get in off the bubble. Well, they had a good case a year ago. Cassell with the bucket, and Iona, which had a 17-0 surge yesterday against St. Peter's, the best defensive team in the league. They're on a big run here against Siena, 14-1 over the last 5 minutes.
Well, they scored off that. That was a turnover they scored off there. Nico Claret just trying to do too much. And Iona doing a good job on switching exchanges right now, and Siena can't get an opening. They're going to have to look to slip some of these switches.
And Marquise Wright lost the ball, and then I think he got called for the foul as he knocked down Sam Cassell. It is the foul on Wright.
Well, John Severe doing a nice job of curling a screen up top and then getting it to Sam Cassell on the break. This is a team, Iona, that they can turn a missed field goal, a turnover into a bucket really, really quickly. And your transition defense, your offense has to help your defense. You turn the ball over, you can't defend that. You can't defend a run out. Right now, Siena turning it over too much.
Crawford, after that slow start, they have found the range from three-point land. Started 0 for 6. They've now made 3 in a row, and the lead is up to 8 for Iona. They have quieted this big pro-Siena crowd.
Well, you know that Iona's going to score. It's important for Siena on their end. They've got to run good offense and get some basket opportunities. Kashmir doing a nice job of face guarding Wright.
They just can't get a field goal. And Iona continuing to run without Jordan Washington in the game. He was called for his second foul just before the last media timeout. And finally a field goal for Siena from Asante Shivers.
Asante Shivers made a nice cut from the top, just a dive to the basket and long. Hit him right in stride. Marquise Wright's got to start. He's got to start looking for his offense.
It is Iona ball, to the chagrin of the big crowd here. That bucket by Shivers, the first field goal for the Saints in 6.5 minutes.
Looked like one of Shivers there.
And They got the call right. And now a rebounding foul against Iona. And it'll be a 1-on-1 opportunity at the other end for Siena. Tonight, after that first WCC semifinal the gentlemen were just talking about between Santa Clara and Gonzaga, don't miss Sports Center at night with Steve Levy and John Buccigross. They'll have everything from Champ Week, the NBA, NHL spring training, the WBC, NFL Combine news, anything else that's pertinent, they'll have it for you. Sports Center at night with the great gentlemen Levy and Buccigross. Up next on ESPN. I know you think you're the best golfer at ESPN, but I think Bucci's better than you.
I think Andy North is better than Bucci.
Oh, that's true. Curtis Strange works for us still. He'd probably be better too. I worked with Andy North and Curtis Strange many times, but on the U.S. Senior Open, and between the three of us, we had combined to win 4 U.S. Opens.
I know they told me they had worked with you while wiping away their tears of regret.
I mean, among the non-professional golfers, I think Carl Ravitch is also
very good, outstanding golfer.
And you're no slouch.
I'm a tremendous.
You are a tremendous slouch. Cassell missed the corner three. Wright was stumbling a little bit as he went after the free ball, but won the battle. Pulls up for three and rattles it home. And back and forth they go in this great rivalry. This is the 111th meeting all time. Siena's played Iona more than any other opponent. Two small Catholic schools with about 3,000 undergraduates. They've had some memorable battles throughout the years. Bisping the rebound, and now Siena can reclaim the lead.
Terrific gang rebounding there by Siena. And here's the guy, Marquise Wright. He had 36 points in a game earlier this year, at 20 points against Monmouth with 8 assists. He's a good player.
And he was bidding for the lead. Levon Long with the putback. Siena goes back up by 1 under 4 minutes to go in the first half.
Siena's just better when Wright is active.
Deshaun Much, nice drive, but missed the layup. Deshaun might be trying to do a little too much. Bisping into the lane. Oganyemi got off to a great start, working on Bessick. Wright runs it down, full shot clock.
Yeah, what a terrific job by Marquise Wright to get that loose ball. Then when he drove baseline, he kept his dribble.
Wide open for three, and swooping in to drop it in. Asante Shivers, the freshman from Seat Pleasant, Maryland. Jimmy Patsos, all those years, 13 as an assistant at Maryland, 9 as the head coach at Loyola in Baltimore, and he is still mining the talent in the Baltimore area and bringing them to Siena.
Well, you can be from Seat Pleasant, but you're never going to be the best player from that area. Kevin Durant's going to keep that for a while.
Cashmere fouled. Wright, the point guard, called for his second. Another good one. Mentions to UNC Wilmington, the winner of the Colonial Athletic Association, and East Tennessee State. A victor tonight over UNC Greensboro in the Southern.
Well, Steve Forbes has done a really good job with that East Tennessee State program. That's a team that can win a game in the NCAA tournament, as can UNC Wilmington. Those are solid basketball teams that are not going to be early round pushovers.
Now, Wilmington looks like one of those 12 seeds that'll be picked in a lot of brackets.
Middle Tennessee of the quote unquote mid majors. Middle Tennessee is the best I've seen. I don't count Wichita State as a mid major. I think Wichita State is a team this year. They struggled a little bit early against some of the big time programs that they played. They lost to Michigan State early, but they've got a really good team, and I think it's a team that the resume says double-digit seed, but I think they're a 5 seed.
Bisping had a little room. The three spins out. Another great offensive rebound by Levon Long. So Bisping will try again. Wow. How about Shivers? He's been a star of the night for Siena. He averages just 3.8 points per game and 2.5 rebounds in 18 minutes. 13 offensive rebounds already for Siena. Jimmy Patsos calls a timeout.
Jimmy Patsos wanted to win the rebound battle. He's up 11. It's plus 11 in rebounds, plus 5 points in second chance points. But they also wanted to win the turnover battle and keep Iona off the three-point line. So far, they are ahead in each of those categories.
Yeah, they've made 4 threes to 3 for Iona. Oganyemi inside foul. They continue to play to the Gales without their best player, Jordan Washington, as is so often the case, in foul trouble. E.J. Crawford called for that foul, his second. And that is the double bonus now. It'll be 2 shots the rest of the half for the Saints.
Iona's given up straight line drives.
And Nico Clarith, after that timeout by Jimmy Patsos, he put Nico Clarith into the ballgame. Who's primarily a catch and shoot three-point shooter. And they gave up Iona gave up a straight line drive and a drop off that couldn't have been easier.
Boy, Oganyemi struggling from the line now, 3 out of 8. But he made big free throws down the stretch in that back and forth ending against Monmouth yesterday to seal the win. Oganyemi from right up the street in Troy, New York. Hometown kid. Good drive by Ricky McGill. Clarith called for the foul. Semifinals of the West Coast Conference from Las Vegas. Gonzaga and Santa Clara. That's going on right now on ESPN, followed by BYU and St. Mary's, approximately 11:30 Eastern time. Of course, BYU has the only win over Gonzaga. And Mark Few's team leads by 10 at the moment. Number 1 seed, you think? Certainly if they win their conference tournament there in Vegas?
I think so. I think Gonzaga did a ton in the non-conference. I mean, they beat Iowa State. They beat Arizona.
Beat Tennessee in the state of Tennessee on a neutral, what was a neutral floor, but a little more slanted toward Tennessee.
They've had some really good non-conference wins, and I think they absolutely will be a number 1 seed if they win the West Coast Conference tournament. They're legit. A lot of people don't want to hear that because they haven't seen them go to a Final Four yet.
People want a validation, but this team is more than capable of doing that.
Siena struggling at the free throw line. That miss by McGill, the first miss from the line for Iona. The Gales, the best free throw shooting team in the MAAC at just under 77%. That's 9th in the country. So it becomes a foul shooting contest advantage. Iona, Marquise Wright, the basket for Siena. As we come down to a minute to go in the half, it's a 2-point lead for the Saints. Iona in a 5-minute field goal drought right now. Crawford stripped. Great hands by Clarith.
Iona is switching basically everything. And what Marquise Wright can do is put them into some exchanges and then get the matchup he wants. There's Nico Clarith turned the ball over again. He didn't have the shot, give the ball up, especially with Marquise Wright
able to get in the lane just about whenever he wants. They got a great matchup on the last possession, and Wright's got to be able to take it himself.
7 turnovers for Siena. At 13 in the first half yesterday against Monmouth. Jimmy Patsos went in the locker room, wrote the number 13 on the board. So we need to cut down on the turnovers and we're going to rally and win. Severe with a severe miss.
Well, that was a settle.
Deshaun Much open on the right side, and that was a deep one and unnecessary from John Severe. Right now with 18 seconds left, especially the way Siena has been rebounding, you want to try to get a shot up. Give yourself an opportunity for an offensive board.
Clarith comes out of the game after his heroics yesterday. Had a very quiet half. Here's a turnover. McGill, 2 defenders there, and they stop the bucket. Chance for a shot. Oganyemi at the buzzer, way off. And we go to halftime. In a very entertaining first half. Iona had a big run to take its first lead of the night. And then Siena closes the half on a 13.
Had 2 offensive rebounds. Levon Long had 6 offensive rebounds, and Javion Oganyemi had 3 himself. And this is a solid offensive rebounding team. Not a great one, but they've had a great first half. But remember, Jordan Washington only played 10 minutes in that first half for Iona. He still had 10.7 rebounds and 4 offensive boards on his own. And I think Siena would be wise to attack him early and see if he can pick up foul number 3.
Washington is on the floor for Iona to start the second half. They go right into Oganyemi, working on Washington. Marquise Wright, the point guard, the pull-up. Levon Long, the offensive rebound. He's fouled by Much. And a chance for a three-point play.
But even with Jordan Washington back into the ball game, Siena continues to dominate the glass. And there is no way that Levon Long is going to be blocked out by Ricky McGill. He just overpowered him down on the low block. And the lefty got the offensive rebound and stick back.
Lane violation. Much called for the foul, his second. Jimmy Patsos in his 4th year here at Siena. The win yesterday got him to 69 and 67. Some speculation here in the Capital Region, Jay, about his future. Many thought the win yesterday against the #1 seed Monmouth might have saved his job. Oganyemi blocks it out of bounds. He's number 2 all time in block shots at Siena, now with 202. It's certainly a trip to the NCAA tournament if there is any question about Patsos' future. That should go away with an NCAA bid. There's the little swooping hook for Jordan Washington.
Can't let him catch it there. That's just too easy off out of bounds underneath.
Oganyemi right in at Washington, who commits the foul, his 3rd. So less than a minute into the second half, Jordan Washington picks up another foul.
Washington did not have his arms straight up. You know, that's a pretty simple rule. Got his chest there, but see how he brings his arms down? When you get that deep under the basket, you have got to jump and put pressure on, because they will not call a foul if you jump, and you are less likely to bring your arms down. But if you're going to stay on the floor, as Washington just did, if you are not vertical, it's going to be a foul every single time.
Washington played just 10 minutes in the first half. It looks like Tim Kluse is going to leave him in. Meanwhile, Oganyemi really scuffling at the line. 3 out of 9. He's 64% for the year. As a team now, they're just 8 for 17. So had Siena been more effective from the line, they'd have a more comfortable lead. E.J. Crawford swings to Deshaun Much. And now a 3 through the net for Ricky McGill.
Marquise Wright just late getting over there. Not sure whether he was confused as to what they were in. Back into 2-3 zone now for Iona, try to protect Jordan Washington.
Oganyemi missed inside. Mentioned Oganyemi's from Troy. His mom passed away in 2013 at the age of 37 from cancer. He started at Siena, then decided maybe it was time to go somewhere else. He lays it in. Went to Boston University for a couple of months, never played in a game. Decided he really did enjoy being home in Troy, surrounded by the rest of his family. Crawford scores, and Joe Jones and the people at Boston University were great about it. They supported his decision to come back to Siena, and it helped sway the NCAA into not making him sit out for a year. They're glad Oganyemi came back, and now he wants to finish his career in the NCAA tournament.
Well, he needs to stay active right now against Washington. He can pick up yet another one if he can go right at him again.
Bisping, tough shot from the elbow with the shot clock running out. Washington the rebound. Here's Iona trying to retake the lead.
Pass.
Kashmir wide open for 3 for the Gales.
Just because Siena doesn't handle their offense well, they have to take a late shot. Bisping just to beat the shot clock. And that opened up a transition opportunity for Iona. Boy, that was beautiful.
Wright cannot answer, but Bisping, the leading rebounder in the league each of the last 2 seasons, couldn't score after the offensive rebound. 3 minutes into the second half, Iona leading by 3. Much finally gets one to go. Deshaun Much, his first 3 of the night. And they are 3 for 3 from beyond the arc here in the second half.
All that is just a question of identifying shooters in transition. Siena unable to get scores the last 2 times down, and not organized getting back.
They double Bisping. Shivers continues to have a nice night, and after the bucket, Jimmy Patsos calls a timeout, getting after his team as they come to the sideline.
Well, Iona in transition.
Jimmy Patsos trying to lead Siena to its 6th MAAC Tournament Championship. They joined the league in the late 80s. Only Iona's won more. They've won 9 conference tournament titles in the MAAC. Siena is 0-8 in the conference tournament all time against Iona. They are 38-14 against every other school in the conference. So that's been their nemesis. Deshaun Much a factor here in the opening minutes of the second half.
Boy, what a great move by Deshaun Much. Just came off a little back screen, got a rescreen, and then took the ball to the basket. That was just excellent action by Iona. Tim Cluse does such a good job with his offense.
He's a tremendous coach, very successful high school coach at St. Mary's on Long Island. 1 year of junior college at Suffolk, 4 years at CW Post, and now 7 years in Iona. Cluse has won big everywhere he's been. Timeout. When we come back, we'll go to the Infinity Bracket Bunkers.
Tries to get around that screen long, that allows him to take the ball to the basket. When a shooter can drive it too, he's that much more difficult to guard. That's really good offense run by Iona.
Siena will have 6 seconds to shoot on an inbound. Much, as we said, started his career at the University at Buffalo. He's from Rochester, New York. We asked him this morning, how'd you wind up at Iona? So I knew I wanted to leave Buffalo. I didn't really know where I wanted to go. My brother, older brother, Quamain, is a big basketball fan. He just started reading online. Where do they play up-tempo? Where do they score a lot of points? He found Iona. I sent them an email, the coaches, said I'd like to come down and visit. They said, you can come. He paid his own way down there to visit. They liked what they saw. And now he's on scholarship. So brother Quamain helped Deshaun get to the right place.
Sounds like a little much.
You're a little much. Thank God I get a respite. Let's bring in the voice of reason, Joe Lunardi, live in the Infinity Bracket Bunker. Big week for Joey Brackett. I mean, every week's a big week for Joe as Bisping fires from the baseline and misses. And here comes Iona with a 6-point lead. Joe, after this game tonight, Jay and I will head down to Brooklyn. There's the flush by Bessick. And some big games tomorrow in New York City, both at particularly in the ACC. Wake Forest, Georgia Tech in action.
No question about it. I think it's a very dangerous spot for Wake Forest, of course, playing Boston College in that game tomorrow afternoon, because it's a game that can help them. It can only hurt them after they did so much good work last week, winning, of course, against Louisville, and then going on the road, backing it up at Virginia Tech. We have Wake in the field at this moment as one of the last 4 in. If they advance and keep winning, of course, they can bubble up the bracket, if you will, and avoid maybe having to go to Dayton. For Georgia Tech, I think it's an essential win, obviously, against Pitt, and probably the next round as well against Virginia, because the Yellow Jackets, for all their good wins, still have just some unthinkable losses and a weak schedule to boot. So I think they've got more work to do than does Wake Forest.
And you think Xavier has work to do also in New York at the Big East tournament?
Well, here's what we don't know. We don't have a lot of precedent on how the committee is going to treat their situation with injuries. Everybody talks about the Edmund Sumner injury, which, of course, is season-ending, but the 6-game losing streak everybody's banging Xavier about, well, 3 of those games occurred without Trayvon Blewett, who's back now playing his usual 38, 39 minutes a game. Even with that said, their only 2 wins in this stretch have been against DePaul, the last place team in the league, who they face again tomorrow. Another situation that can only hurt a bubble team. So I'm looking at a potential Xavier Butler quarterfinal as really a statement game for the Musketeers with their current lineup.
All right, Joe, thanks. Keep up the good work. We look forward to chatting with you throughout champ week. Bessick called for travel after it looked like he had a steal for Iona. So it's Iona with a 6-point lead, under 14 minutes to go in Siena basketball.
Here's how I think injuries should be handled by the committee. They should not be taken into consideration for selection. They should be considered for seeding. So you decide once a team's in how good they are, but your record's your record. If you don't play, injuries are part of the game. So you don't take them into account for seeding. You go by the record, or excuse me, for selection, you go by the record. But for seeding and how good a team is, that's when you take injuries into account once they're already in.
There's the last 4 in, first 4 out. Reminds me of what Bill Parcells used to say. You are what your record says you are. And by the way, Jimmy Patsos has struck up a friendship with Bill Parcells, and they were texting back and forth earlier today. Jimmy said he's learned a lot about coaching from his conversations with Coach Parcells over the years.
Yemi just got fouled there, and it went uncalled. I mean, that was a clear foul.
Bodies flying, and Marquise Wright of Siena called for that foul, his third.
The physical play is great, but once he catches this ball, you got arms all over him, and then bumping him as he's going up. I mean, that's a foul. That's a foul on both. That should be called on both ends.
Kadeem Smithen returns to the game for Siena. Iona the ball, a 6-point lead. Their largest lead was 8 in the first half with about 6 minutes to go.
A number of 3-point shooters in the ball game now for Iona.
Crawford pulls it out. Shot clock at 10. Much. A 3. Siena bench wanted him to get called for an offensive foul. They thought he discarded a defender with his free arm. And they've matched their largest lead now. Much on the verge of double figures for the 5th straight game. He averages 9 points per game.
Well, he's difficult to deal with when he's a 3, let alone when he's in there playing the 4 position. But it did look like he had a little discard arm, Levon Long.
Smithen split the defenders and got grazed. Turned a trip to the free throw line.
Much is such a good shooter. You see him coming off the little screen, got a switch, little discard there, and maybe even a foot on the line as he went up there, towing the line. So a 3 that perhaps should have been a 2.
Well, it did look like the official there was signaling 2.
Thought he was saying peace.
And they scored it a 2, as it turns out. Bessick called for the foul. He goes to the bench. He has 3. So they don't have many big men, but Washington and Bessick have 2 fouls. They are really the 2 big men available to Tim Klose. Washington playing with the 3 fouls. Little weave here by Iona, leading by 6.
Wasn't the kind of weave that caused a switch. Now they got one. Now that was a switch I thought McGill could have taken advantage of.
Shot clock at 5. McGill's open and gets the bounce. Rattled out, hit the glass, and then dropped back through. And Iona has its largest lead. They've made 7 threes. When they make 10 or more threes in a game this year, they are 18-1. That's the magic number.
Plenty of time to get to 10. Yemi had to switch out onto McGill. When the ball went inside, he couldn't recover.
Shivers, unlucky. It spun out to Bisping, who was stripped by McGill, but McGill knocked it off the end line. Siena's now missed its last 9 3-point field goal attempts. A trip to the NCAA tournament on the line tonight here in Albany. Seed in the NCAA tournament leading Santa Clara. That's on ESPN right now. And BYU and St. Mary's on ESPN 2 at 11:30. Siena ball. The inbounding pass contested by Ricky McGill. This is out of the last time out.
He's basically telling his team, we're going inside. Get the ball inside. Because they've been taking a lot of threes. They're 4 of 17 from 3. Nico Clarith has not had the type of game he had in the semifinals.
Well, Bisping, they don't go inside, but that's a three for Brett Bisping. From a basketball family, his sister was a fine player at Bradley. They're from nearby Morton, Illinois, and Brett told us this morning his youngest sister just won her third straight state championship at Morton High School, and she's going to play at Milwaukee in college next year. LeVon Long the rebound, and here come the Saints again, down by 6.
Siena just went with a straight 2-3 zone. And just looking inside, if they can try to get something going to the basket, that at least opens up some perimeter shots.
Oganyemi tips in the miss by Wright.
That was a good drive by Marquise Wright. He has to remain aggressive. When he's aggressive, Siena is a much better team.
12 and 6 for Oganyemi, who averages 14 points, 5.5 rebounds. The hometown kid trying to send Siena back to the NCAA for the first time since 2010. Washington tried to power in. Oganyemi held his ground. Bisping looks for help.
It just looked to me like he took the ball into that left arm of Oganyemi.
Bisping another three. And it's a 1-point game. Midway through the second half. Timeout, Iona. Coach, and when we visited with Brett this morning, you could see why Coach Patsos feels that way.
When he first started coaching him, Jimmy Patsos told him, "You're going to be Bill Laimbeer." And he went from being a 7 rebound a game guy in high school to leading the MAAC in rebounding 2 years in a row. About 10 rebounds per game this year.
You know, when Patsos first got the job, Bisping said, "I'm a stretch 4." Coach Patsos said, "I don't even know what that is. You're going to play like Bill Laimbeer." Much a miss. Bisping said, "I don't know who Bill Laimbeer is." Well, he watched a lot of tape of Bill Laimbeer. Has rebounded and played outside. Now for the lead. Clarith, no. Bisping went swooping in. He knocked it out of bounds.
Clarith now 1 of 6 from 3-point range after going 7 of 9 against Monmouth and putting up 27 points in that second half. And he's really hobbled, Sean. It's amazing, frankly, that he can even play with that right ankle.
They did not really participate in their very light walkthrough. He's getting treatment. He said he had ice on his ankle just about all night. Foot was numb. He was limping noticeably in the warm-up. Patsos didn't think he'd play yesterday. He's trying to gut it out today.
He's a gamer.
10 to shoot, 9 minutes to go. The winner goes to the NCAA tournament. Wide open. That's for 3. Wouldn't go. Out of the corner for McGill. Another chance for the lead for Siena. Underneath, LeVon Long was fouled before the block shot by Taylor Bessick.
Where LeVon Long had what looked like an easy bucket with his right hand, but he wanted to get back to that strong hand. He's a lefty and tried to turn back to his left hand. I think if he had stayed with his right there, he could have been looking at a 3-point play.
4 fouls on Bessick, so both Iona big men with foul trouble. There's the play you were referencing. Washington comes back in. Their best player, Iona. He has 3 fouls. He's played just 17 minutes. Has 12 points.
Severe on Clarith.
Right for 3. And the lead once again for Siena. Marquise Wright.
Marquise Wright had Jordan Washington on him, and that was a matchup that he was going to exploit. As soon as he caught it, he was thinking offense.
Now Washington called for his 4th foul as he spun toward the bucket and ran over Brett Bisping.
Bisping just sat on that charge. Well, how many big plays has Brett Bisping made in this game? With the matchup advantage, little jab step and knocking down the shot. Here's Bisping just giving him a little bit of distance, and Washington spun right into him. Instead of staying body to body, he backed up just a bit, and the emotional Jordan Washington not happy on the bench.
Right. With the defender drifting away. It's Jan Sponderlich, who doesn't play much, but he has to now with the foul difficulty. And then Iona in a big hurry turns it over. Well, Bisping was a hero yesterday. The big tip in during that rally against Monmouth. All right, some great action all over the place, including here in Albany, New York. The Siena Saints on their home floor. Team that started year 4-11. All kinds of speculation about the future of their coach. Nico Clarith, one of their best players, took a leave of absence in the middle of the year for 7 games to get his situation settled on and off the court. But here they are on the verge of a very improbable run to the NCAA tournament if they can finish the job against the Iona team that won this conference tournament a year ago.
20 offensive rebounds in this game for Siena.
Down to 6 to shoot for the Saints. Levon long with the shot, rebounded by Ricky McGill. And a 3 way short from Sam Cassell Jr. Graduate transfer, didn't play much at UConn.
Sam Cassell, one of the top 3-point shooters in the MAAC. And Siena actually very lucky there because Oganyemi trying to close out to him way late in transition. Getting to one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. Good fake.
And a hard hit on the layup attempt by Cedric Cashmere. So he'll go to the line with a chance to tie it for Iona. And he is a great free throw shooter. 93.3%. 42 out of 45 for the year. And that's the 4th foul on Marquise Wright, the starting point guard and floor leader for Siena. That's pronounced Cedric, his first name.
This is a big loss right now for Siena to have Marquise Wright go out of the game for any period of time. Not only his scoring ability, but his ball handling, his presence and leadership out on the floor. And Iona is going to bring full court pressure. You can expect them to trap. They're going to try to put non-handlers in a situation where they've got a handle.
Cashmere made the first 2 free throws of the half for Iona. 7 minutes to go. Another dandy in the Metro Atlantic final between these two spirited rivals. Smithen found Bisping a little short from beyond the free throw line. Clarith had a tip. Oganyemi had it blocked and blocked again by Bessick with 4 fouls, and it goes out of bounds to Iona.
Well, that is a basket-saving play and sequence by Taylor Bessick.
Iona ball with a chance for the lead.
Clarith kept that ball alive. That, in most instances, would be a bucket for Siena.
And at the other end, it's a bucket for Ricky McGill. Sophomore out of Spring Valley, New York. Their first field goal in 5.5 minutes. Bisping was calling for a timeout. He thought his teammates are in trouble. They wound up with it. Probably didn't want the timeout, but they take it. Down by 2. Only 1 timeout left for the Saints with 6:16 to go. Out of the West Coast Conference Championship semifinals going on at the Orleans Arena in Las Vegas. Gonzaga up by 7 over Santa Clara on ESPN. Then later BYU and St. Mary's. Levon Long right down the lane. Bessick had to back off with the foul trouble. He's playing with 4. Washington is on the bench with 4. We'll see how soon Tim Klus brings his best player back into the game.
Well, Jimmy Fatsos brought Marquise Wright back into the game. He was the one that made that pass to Long.
A 3 for Ricky McGill.
Well, you can't collapse when the ball goes inside the 3-point line. You have got to stay with 3-point shooters. If you give up a tough 2, that is one thing. Giving up an open 3 is a problem.
And now McGill called for a foul. His 3rd.
Everybody goes and collapses on the ball, and that was an excellent pass by Cashmere. When Crawford got into the lane, all 5 guys were surrounding him. He kicked it out. And it's not the first pass, it's that extra pass or the right pass
that was made by Cashman.
Gill didn't play much last year as a freshman. That foul gives Siena the 1-and-1 opportunity, and Clareth made the free throw.
Well, Marquise Wright, when he's on the defensive end, Jimmy Patsos went back to the little 2-3 zone there, but when he's on the defensive end, he may have to give up a bucket. He cannot get a foul here. He is way too valuable for Siena.
Clareth knew the free throw was off. He ran all the way to the baseline to flick it away, but Siena couldn't get possession.
Better be strong with the ball, because there's a lot of contact that is not being called in this game right now. Freedom of movement is just a memory.
Seven to shoot. Approaching 5 minutes to go. McGill hands it off, and Bessick fouled. Missed a shorty, but got hit by Oganyemi. Just the third foul in the half against Siena, and the second personal on the senior, Javion Oganyemi. There's Bessick. Has not been to the line tonight. Been to the line only 27 times all year. He's made 18 of them. Senior from Philadelphia. Cooley makes the first.
He's had a really big impact on this game, on the defensive end and on the glass especially, but his ability to block and change shots has really affected Siena.
He averages 14 minutes. He's played 20 because of the foul difficulty on Washington. One possession game with 5 minutes to go. A double-double for Brett Bisping, his 13th of the season.
2-3 zone matching up out of it.
Oh, Much saw that coming. Clareth trying to get back on the ankle, couldn't get there. Did well to avoid fouling. Up by 5, Iona, with 4:40 to go. It's a veteran team for Siena. Lots of seniors out there, including Wright, who's fouled on the reach-in by McGill. They'll need the benefit of the experience as they try to make it to the NCAA for the first time.
Anytime you're throwing backwards and throwing essentially a diagonal pass, those are the ones that are most often picked off. And you're right, Deshaun Much was reading the eyes of the passer all the way and saw that coming, just shot the gap and took it the other way. He's had a really good game. Made some tough plays on both ends of the floor.
Struggled to shoot at the beginning, but he has rectified that. The foul is the 4th on McGill. So foul difficulties on each side. And here's Marquise Wright from Waldorf, Maryland. Outside D.C. Was going to go to Loyola, but when Jimmy Patsos left Loyola to come to Siena, he came to Siena with the coach.
Does a little Rondé Hollis Jefferson shake before he shoots it.
Yeah, he was a great recruit. He was the player of the year in Maryland in 2013.
Part of his routine. A little shake. Not quite as pronounced as Rondé Hollis Jefferson, but effective nonetheless. Sticking with the 2-3 zone now. The middle's wide open. That's some bad matchups now.
5 to shoot. Shivers got his hand on it. Has it back from right for the knock. And a foul.
The same kind of steal that Iona just got and turned into a dunk. Turnabout is fair play. Shivers knocks it in and gets the foul. And what a turnaround on that play. Iona had a chance to put a little space between themselves and Siena and coughed the ball up and compounded the mistake with a foul.
Much's 3rd foul. So Shivers a chance to tie it. He's 66% from the line of the year. He missed. Tipped around, controlled by McGill. Iona the ball, a 1-point lead. Under 4 minutes to go.
Remember, Iona's own. Oh, good pass.
And Long fouled Washington before the shot. It's just the 4th team foul on Siena, so no free throws this time. 3 fouls on Levon Long. 3:45 to go here in Albany. Lead as the Gales try to win their 3rd MAAC Tournament Championship in the 7 years under Tim Close, the latest in a long line of outstanding coaches at Iona. The late great Jim Valvano, Pat Kennedy, Tim Welsh, our friend and colleague, the winningest coach all time at Iona, won 76% of his games in 3 years before he went to Providence. Of course, Kevin Willard had success at Iona. Cluse has done a tremendous job.
And his team shooting 60% in this second half. Iona 12 of 20 from the field in the second half, but Siena staying in it by virtue of the offensive glass. Good pass inside.
And Washington, who's been hampered by the foul trouble all night, earns a trip to the free throw line as he powered his way inside and got hit by Brett Bisping, his 2nd foul.
Washington so strong and athletic. When he gets low post position and has a defender on his back, he's going to score or get fouled.
He had 22 yesterday in the win against St. Peter's. With that free throw, he has 13 tonight, including 3 for 3 from the line. He took 223 free throws entering tonight, most in the MAAC and 9th most in the country. And he's now taken 4 more tonight.
And all those free throws, those 223 free throws coming into this game, taken in 20 minutes a game.
Yep.
It's remarkable how productive he is in a short amount of time.
Shivers had some room inside, didn't shoot. Wright does. A line drive 2 from the corner to tie the game at 68 as we tick down to 3 minutes to go in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference Final.
That's why Marquise Wright needs to stay in the game. Can't afford to pick up another foul. Got to be smart.
Much trying to drive on Wright. Much rises and connects with a 3-point goal. Deshaun Much.
What a big time shot that was. Marquise Wright was right on him.
Siena with only 1 timeout. 2.5 minutes to go. And Wright for the tie. No. Levon Long attacked and then missed a wide open putback. Shivers saved it. Wright is open for 3. And the tie with 2:17 to go.
How about that 1-2?
These seniors, 4 of them, 1,000-point career scorers, have never been to the tournament. They're doing everything they can this weekend on their home floor to get there in their last chance.
If it's been long or it's been loose or it's been on the glass, Siena has come up with it.
Good move by Washington. Rejected by Oganyemi. Much short of the 3. Got his own rebound. They have a full shot clock and they pull it out with 1:37 remaining.
Well, one of the few loose balls that Siena wasn't able to come up with.
McGill splits the defense and gets fouled on a little reach in. That is just the 6th team foul against Siena, so it's not yet the bonus. And Iona will inbound with a full clock. 3rd foul on Brett Bisping.
Well, Levon Long had a little bunny there, but a great job to save that ball. And how important has Marquise Wright been to this Siena team? What a fabulous player.
Doesn't want this to be his last game. 610 career assists entering tonight. 3rd all-time for Siena. 1:20 to go.
They're going to go right after Bisping here.
With their best player, Washington. Some contact, no whistle. And it's ripped away by Wright. It's 6-1 from Washington at 6-8.
Washington went right into the chest of Bisping. I thought that was really well defended. But that was a big-time rebound by Wright. What a heart he's got.
Last lead for Siena was 59-58 with 7:11 to go. Chance for the lead with under a minute to go. 10 to shoot. And they get it to the hands of their leader.
What a switch.
Wright with Munch taking it away. And now Clarith trying to hustle back on a reach-in foul. Deshaun Munch. Another huge play for Iona.
Deshaun Munch has done it on both ends in this game. You know he's a great offensive player, but with his length, the active hand to reach in with that left and knock it away. When Marquise Wright showed the ball coming off that ball screen, he switched off.
They called the foul on Clarith. His second. It puts them over the limit. It's a 1-and-1. Munch doesn't get to the line off in 13 out of 17 for the year. That is 77%. For the lead. Yes, he rattled it home. And if they win this game and go on to the tournament, Gales fans can say thank you to his brother Quamaine, who found Iona online trying to find a transfer destination for his brother Deshaun.
Iona showing full court pressure.
And they drop back. Down by 2. Siena. 15 to shoot.
They'll get something going toward the basket.
Long. 10 to shoot. And in trouble. Oganyemi trying to drive on Washington. 5 to shoot. Right from the corner. No. Bisping. Rebounding foul called on Iona. A huge whistle. And another big rebound for Siena. Out rebounding them 49-31.
It took Siena a long time to get.
But they haven't been to the NCAA tournament.
Well, these are obviously 2 big free throws
By one of those seniors, Brett Bisping.
And not only does Siena have 4 players with over 1,000 points, they're the only team in the country that's got 4 over 1,200.
Bisping makes the first. He's 74% for the year.
Needs to stay on the line. He backed up when he let that one go.
They've had a rough night as a team. 14 out of 25. Nothing but net. Tie game. 13.7 to go. Each team with 1 timeout. The arrow for Iona. A chance for the last shot for the Gales for a return trip to the tournament. And back-to-back MAAC tournament championships.
Not always the first shot that beats you. It's the second shot.
They need to get any shot. McGill from deep. No. Missing the rebound. Time has expired in regulation play.
Well, not the shot that Iona wanted. Got a little ball screen up top. difficult schedule. On the road at Kansas. Seemed like their first 5 or 6 games were on the road.
Here we go to overtime. Siena hasn't played an overtime game this year. Iona's 1-1. It's the 5th MAAC Championship game to go to overtime. The last one was in 2010. Siena, a winner in that game over Ed Cooley's Fairfield Stags. That was the last time Siena won this conference tournament, the last time they went to the NCAA. Deshaun Much, guarded by Wright, who was playing with 4 fouls. Washington inside, scores with 4 fouls.
Boy, what a smart play by Washington. Got the ball inside and then kicked it back out. He didn't have it initially, then reposted. And when he got it, made a really quick move against Brett Bisping. That was really good basketball by Jordan Washington.
Marquise Wright, and he is fouled. Step back shot. He got hit on the flyby by Cedric Cashmere's second.
Didn't have it, just kicked it back out and then sort of reposted, got a little bit deeper, and then as soon as he caught the ball, he went right into a quick move with that short little jump hook. Boy, how quick is Marquise Wright? That little step back move.
We've seen some big plays in this game and some gutsy plays. Guys stepping in the line and knocking down big free throws.
Wright gets the bounce. Ricky McGill, sophomore guard, originally committed to Manhattan. They're awfully glad he wound up at Iona. Into Washington, guarded by Oganyemi, 2 of the best big men in this conference. Washington the best. McGill in traffic, foul.
Well, what a cut. As soon as Siena went to double team in the post, McGill made a fabulous cut to the basket. His defender goes, and as soon as his head was turned, he made a great dive to the rim. And Washington found him. That was a big-time cut by Ricky McGill.
And the 3rd foul on Javion Oganyemi. McGill, the all-time leading scorer at Spring Valley High School, north of New York City. Didn't play much for Coach Klus last year. They had a great player by the name of A.J. English, who's now playing professionally in Germany. Ahead of him, he's the only player who started every game this year for Iona, and he's been a major key to their success.
Siena needs to be mindful, one, of some full court pressure, but also a quick trap.
And so they advance it quickly to Clarith, who steps back for a 3. That rattled off, but Levon Long again crashing the boards, kept it alive. Bisping looking for help.
Well, Deshaun Much made it so difficult for Wright to get the ball. He had to work so hard to get it.
Clarith, after yesterday's heroics, is just 1 for 8 from the floor. And 1 out of 7 from 3. Right, way off. There's Oganyemi in the right spot.
And the offensive glass has been an offense unto itself for Siena. Iona's first shot defense has not been bad, but they've not been able to keep Siena off of the offensive glass.
28 offensive rebounds to 11 for Iona. Double-double for Oganyemi. Long and Bisping also have double figures in rebounds. Up and in for Jordan Washington.
Got right through a double team, went to the other side of the basket, and got it to go off the glass. What a big-time play by Jordan Washington.
Well, a big-time player, Jimmy Patso, saying he's a player who definitely could play in one of the Power 5 conferences. Originally was slated to go to Arizona State. Clarith splits the defense on the bad ankle underneath for Oganyemi. They're tied again with 2:20 to go in overtime.
Washington couldn't afford to pick up the foul.
Washington carefully working on Bisping. Doesn't want to slam into him. Gets it blocked by Oganyemi. Clareth out of bounds. Couldn't save it.
It's hard to believe there wasn't a foul called there. I mean, there's no question that Jordan Washington was fouled. Dry cleaners in business.
11 seconds now. The determination of the shot clock. Iona ball, tie game. Under 2 minutes to go in overtime.
They can't go under those screens with much. He'll shoot it.
Much into the lane. Floater is good. Deshaun Much.
Long is down. Now he's back up. It looked like he was really hurt.
18 for Much on 7 of 12 shooting. Also 6 rebounds. 4 assists. For the transfer out of the University at Buffalo, junior from Rochester, New York. 1:25 to go. Bisping, boy, he got bumped from behind. The whistle was a little tardy, but no question. He got hit by E.J. Crawford, so Bisping goes back to the line for 2 more big free throws after the 3rd foul on Crawford.
After the closeout, little drive, and Marquise Wright just gambled for that steal and took himself out of position and opened up the drive for Deshaun Much, who's just had a tremendous game at both ends of the floor.
He likes playing here. His season high was 20 here at Siena during the regular season. And Much is 2 away from that tonight. Meanwhile, Bisping, another clutch free throw. 4 out of 5 tonight. And this one to tie it with 1:21 to go in overtime.
How many big free throws has Siena hit down the stretch?
You'd love to see that factor yesterday in their win against Monmouth, making the free throws in a tight
And Shemek Karnowski's been a different player this year, coming off all those surgeries, and he's moving much better.
Tied at 81. Iona scores and Siena responds. That's basically the way overtime has gone.
This is about getting a stop. The team that gets a stop is going to win.
Good move on the end line. Washington, you see his talents when he is in the game. You can't really see the talents when he's on the bench. That's hard for anybody to demonstrate. Bisping called for his 4th foul.
You just can't really guard him one-on-one at the post. He's too big, too athletic, and too explosive. Now, Jordan Washington, for some reason, didn't want to tuck his own shirt in. He was having one of his teammates do it. Maybe he didn't want to get his hands wet before he shot a free throw. Not sure I've ever seen. I mean, I've never seen somebody ask another teammate to.
Do the officials tell him to tuck it in?
Yes.
Come on, really? I mean, you know, guys go out to go shoot one of the biggest free throws of his life, and
but I mean, I like you, but you're a great teammate, but I'm not tucking your shirt in.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, I think if there's one time you might want to just let him play with the shirt untucked for 59 seconds, this would be the time to do it. Jordan Washington makes them both.
Well, we have seen clutch free throws made again and again. This has been so much fun to watch.
Terrific doubleheader in the semifinals yesterday, and this has been a classic final now between two longtime rivals. Right down the lane, scores again. He has 26.
Came off the high ball screen. Jordan Washington did not want a foul. He was not connected up top. What a play by Wright.
Trying to get to the tournament for the first time as a senior. Trying to extend his career. 15 on the shot clock. To the bucket goes E.J. Crawford, the freshman. Shot clock off. Siena ball.
Go right back to the high ball screen. Now Washington's up. He got a switch.
2 to tie, 3 for the lead. 13 seconds to go. Wright's had a brilliant night. Wright, 6 seconds to go. Clarith, yesterday's hero, off the mark. And they foul Washington with 1.6 seconds to go.
Well, Clarith got a shot, but it was a challenged one.
Psychological job to do in his huddle. You can see the heads hanging after the foul. So Washington goes back to the line. 5 out of 6 from the free throw line tonight, including a couple just a moment ago. The man who shot more free throws than anybody in the conference this year. 68.6 coming in. And if this goes in, you can punch the 7th ticket to the NCAA tournament in this year's bracket, the return trip for the Iona Gales. They're 6 out of 6 from the line. In overtime, they lead by 4 with 1.6 to go. And the great run by the Siena despite the foul trouble, doing what he does. A double-double, 21 points, 8 of those in overtime and 10 rebounds.
Both teams played their hearts out. What a fabulous basketball game.
Right at 3, but even if it goes in, they come up a point short, and as he makes the shot, he collapses to his knees, pounding the floor with tears in his eyes and celebration in New Rochelle for the Iona Gales. They will return to the NCAA tournament as they win.